The vibrant and clear visibility that you will experience from this HUD's display is pretty much its main advantage, and this is thanks to its built-in reflective flip-up screen, which allows the display to be viewed pretty much perfectly at any time of the day. But this head-up display also offers other features, such as its built-in altitude meter, its compass, its speed alarm, and even more. Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. If you're new here, hello and welcome to the channel, and I hope you like today's video. If you like smart home and automotive technology content, then hit that subscribe button, because that's what you're going to see on this channel. In today's video, I'm going to be reviewing another HUD head-up display, and this time it's the Geyiren C500. Now, if you have had anything to do with head-up displays before, then you'll know that usually they are always supplied with a reflective screen, like this one here, that you just stick onto your front windscreen. And once done, it will look like this. The reflective screen is used to make the display from the device as clear as possible in all lights, and it does that job well. However, if you follow this channel, you will know that I personally am not a big fan of these reflective screens, and it's not because they don't work, because clearly they do, but I just do not like the look of them on my windscreen. And fortunately these days, with some head-up displays, you can actually get away without having to use a reflective screen altogether, and so I personally never use them. I find the display is clear enough without it. Of course, if I use a reflective screen like this one, it would be even clearer, as it is now, but I don't find it necessary. However, for some of the lower quality head-up displays, you will have no choice but to use a reflective screen. Now, one of the main advantages of using a head-up display like this one here is you don't need to stick one of these ugly looking reflective screens onto your windscreen at all. And that's because this head-up display has a reflective screen built into it, which just manually pops up, like this. This is great because it means you're always going to get the clearest looking display from the device at all times. And for most people, that is very important. However, there is also one downside to this as well, when compared to some other head-up displays. And that is that the display from the HUD is always going to be displayed down low, closer towards the bottom of your windscreen. So if, for example, you want your speed from the HUD displayed higher up here on the windscreen, like this, then unfortunately that's not going to be possible, because the reflective screen of this HUD is of course not adjustable to that height, and for some vehicles that might be a problem. Now some of you will be thinking, but if you don't want to use a reflective screen you can just close it, and that will function just like any other HUD, but unfortunately it won't. You cannot do that with this device. This HUD will only work with its own built-in reflective screen. If you try to close or remove the screen, the display will not be projected onto your windscreen at all, because of the way the device has been designed. You see, the angle of the main light display here has been designed only to project the display onto its built-in reflective screen. It is not designed to be used with the windscreen of your car at all, unlike some other HUDs, such as the M1 here, where the main light display is designed in the flat bottom of the device, and the C500 is not. It's mounted here at this angle. Now, of course, for some cars, there is not going to be any problem or disadvantage to using this device at all, because, for example, on a small car like this, with its short and height windscreen and flat dashboard design, having the HUD mounted and displayed here is pretty much exactly where you're going to want the display for viewing anyway. However, on bigger vehicles like vans and SUVs, you may require the display to be at a higher viewing angle on the windscreen. And don't forget, all dashboards are different as well, so not everyone is able to mount a head-up display in this location of their car. Okay, so what else can this head-up display actually do? So let's rewind a bit and start with some of the basic specs. This particular device I have here in my hand is a GPS controlled head-up display. However, it is also available in a OBD2 version, so you can plug it into your OBD2 diagnostic port to use it, which of course will also have more functionality over this GPS version. This one though, being the GPS version, means it's basically compatible with all vehicles, including trucks, buses, SUVs, etc. The OBD2 version vehicle compatibility will be slightly more limited to specific vehicles, just like all the OBD2 head-up displays are. The GPS version is powered up off 5 volts. You just plug the supplied mini USB cable into the mini USB port here. You can see I've got it up here. And then you just plug the other end of that into a USB adapter and then plug it into your cigarette lighter socket. As for the functionality, this GPS version can read and display your current speed, your travel time, meaning the time you've been driving for, as well as the distance you've traveled. It will also display the current time and your car's battery voltage. It does have a built-in speed alarm feature, including a compass, altitude meter and satellite monitor. And of course it also has the auto brightness feature, which changes the brightness of the display automatically in different lights. And yes, it can also be changed between kilometers per hour and miles per hour. And as for how you adjust the settings of this device, this head-up display does not have a lot at all when it comes to control buttons. In fact, technically speaking, it doesn't have any. This little switch here is simply a on-off power switch. And instead of using multiple buttons to choose between the different functions and settings, this head-up display just uses a little toggle wheel, which just moves forward and backwards. And then to choose a specific setting, you just press the middle of the wheel, and that functions as a single control button for everything. I actually do like this design, as it gives the device a much cleaner look than what it would look like if it had control buttons all over it. And I think that has covered all of the basic specs of the device. So it's now time to hit the road and put this device to the test. So I've got my Geyiren C500 mounted up here on my dashboard, and the display is looking nice and clear and clean. It is very susceptible to fingerprints, so you don't really want to touch the screen if you don't have to. So now let's see just how well this device can perform. Okay, so I'm just going for a short little drive, just so you guys can see the device functioning. I've got the speed alarm set to 50 kilometers per hour. So if you hear a beeping in the background, that's my speed alarm going off on the head-up display. If you hear any other beeping in the background, it's just the blind spot monitoring system. Okay, so as you have seen, the speed alarm works really well, and for me on this car, the HUD is very accurate to my speedometer as well. But of course, this can be calibrated if you find it is incorrect for your car, which it may be, as all cars are different. Now, going back to the speed alarm again, some people don't like the sound from the speed alarm being on all the time. And the good news is that can be turned off. And to do that, you simply just pull the toggle wheel back to you for 5 seconds until it beeps. And that's it. The speed alarm is now turned off. If you want to turn the speed alarm back on again, you just repeat the same procedure again until it beeps. And the speed alarm is now back on. And as I mentioned earlier on, it also has a clock built into the display, which is always a useful feature to have. And it's also a feature that you're not going to see with all head-up displays. And that can also be turned off by just pressing the toggle wheel forward, like that, and then now you've only got your speed displayed on the windscreen. Okay, 19.4, that's the tripometer, so I've done 19.4 kilometers today, which is correct. And 0131, that's telling me that I've been driving today for 1 hour and 31 minutes so far, and that is probably also correct. And as I've already said, it can also be adjusted between mileage and kilometers per hour. And that's what I'm doing here. So for me, it's kilometers per hour. As previously mentioned, this device also has the auto brightness feature, so it will automatically adjust the brightness of the display, all depending on the light. However, this can also be manually adjusted slightly, and there's 3 levels. So you've got 0, which is the auto brightness feature, 1, which goes a little bit brighter, and 2, which is the brightest feature. It's very hard to see, so you have to look closely. I'll just do that one more time. 0, dim, and bright. So if you do need to manually adjust the display yourself, you can do that. Now just next to the clock here, you might be able to see a little N symbol. That's the built-in compass, which is telling me I'm currently driving north. It seems to only monitor north and south. So when I turn into this road here on my left, it should disappear altogether. Which it does. Now when I turn into the next road on my left, it should tell me I'm driving south. So just turning into the road now. Which it does. So I'm currently driving south, not north. This feature only works when the car is moving. It's probably not a feature I would ever use, as I don't really use compasses for anything. But if you're looking for a head-up display with a built-in compass feature, the Geyiren C500 has got it. This little red symbol here on the display is the altitude meter. And as you can see just up here, it's also showing my current altitude reading, which for some may be a useful feature. It can be useful in the case of an emergency if you've broken down in the middle of nowhere and someone needs to find you, but I personally would probably never use this feature, but it's there if you need it. And for those of you who are wondering, is the display too bright and distracting at night time when you're driving? And it's definitely not. It may look a little bit bright and blurry on camera, but it's actually very good on the eyes, and obviously still very clear and easy to read. Okay guys, and that's how the Geyiren C500 head-up display works. One more thing I will just point out though is, although this device is advertised as the C500, the instruction manual is also calling it the T900. So it's possible the instruction manual is for multiple models, but the functionality is possibly the same for all of them. The instructions in this manual are correct for this device though. So overall, the Geyiren C500 head-up display does seem to perform quite well. But I'm actually just sitting here right now looking at the Geyiren, sitting next to the Conway KW206 head-up display, and I'm trying to see what advantage the Geyiren would have over a head-up display like the Conway. And you know what? I don't really know. I mean, the Geyiren doesn't project my speed onto the windscreen, and neither does the Conway. I mean, sure, the features of the Conway KW206 head-up display are a lot more advanced than the Geyiren C500, but they are also completely different devices. Plus the Conway is also an OBD2 device, and the Geyiren is obviously GPS, and it's not designed to project the speed onto the windscreen. I cannot see any benefit the Geyiren would have over the Conway for me personally. But anyway, and having said all of that, I do think the Geyiren C500 here is quite a good head-up display, and as you have also seen, it does seem to work quite well. So I'm sure it would be a great head-up display for many drivers to have. It is, however, not the cheapest head-up display to purchase. It's actually double the price of the M1 here, which I reviewed a few weeks ago, but it does also have slightly more features than the M1 as well. So if you're looking for a good head-up display with a very bright and clear display, then the Geyiren C500 might be the head-up display for you. But when comparing it to, again, the M1, if using the M1 with the reflective screen that you can stick onto your windscreen, which I showed you earlier on in the video, I don't know if you're really going to notice that much of a difference in display quality, to be honest. But yes, the Geyiren C500 with its built-in flip-up reflective screen does produce a very nice and clear display that is enjoyable for your eyes to view, and in all lights as well. Anyway guys, if you think this Geyiren C500 might be the perfect head-up display for you and your vehicle, then as always I have put a link below to where you can purchase it from. And that now brings us to the end of another video. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed watching this video or you found it helpful, then please like, share, comment and subscribe to the channel, where you can watch even more videos, which I upload every week. And I hope to see you all in the next video.